Once upon a time, there was a small boy who learned to walk on his hands, and he did it all the time. He could smell the flowers without bending over. He could see butterflies eyeball to eyeball, and he was well acquainted with the ground that others were standing on or passing by. Naturally, his parents were deeply distressed and took him to a psychiatrist, then a pediatrician and a social worker, and even took him to church. In time, they were all able to teach him to walk, to stand on his feet and walk on them like everybody else. So now he could see people's faces, which was good, but he was also seeing billboards and ugly buildings and traffic jams and countless screens and masses of people who were living by doing what was expected of them. So it was a great success, as now he had become like everybody else. One of the happiest parts of our faith is that nobody ought or need become like everybody else. Our faith teaches that by the creative love of God, everyone is valued distinctively, and therefore everyone distinctively is called and empowered to be who they are in the world. God loves variousness. Just look at the fantastic diversities of nature, great proliferations of so many different colors and shapes and sizes and textures and sounds, fragrance. Clearly, the Creator delights in spectacular differences. And if you need more evidence for this, take a good long look at human faces. We've all got the same elements to work with, but each face is so distinctively, astonishingly unique. So also with human personality and with each person's potential for contribution to the world. Each one unique. What it means then to grow as a human being is not to learn how better to fit in, but how to become more and more authentically and completely who you are in the world. I heard of a nun who, in her later years, told a group, "If you are not eccentric by the time you are 60, your yeast didn't rise." Society at large opposes this. Cultures, clans, tribes, societies have built-in ways of pressuring toward conformity. Some wonderful, delightful, constructive ways, and some that are not so good at all. It shows up in fashion and style and in the arts and in politics and in religion and in all the stuff we think we have to have because apparently everybody else has it, or all the stuff we feel we should think or say or do because everybody else seems to be thinking it, saying it, feeling it, doing it. Some of us actually try, we work at doing this, trying to keep up and fit in. Others of us don't think about it much at all. It's just so natural and so easy to move along with the herd, to breathe in the aerosolized group opinion and perspective and behaviors. At least in the big section of the herd that we happen to be in. Or we need to face it. The big herd is divided, It's a matter of not getting the herd mind of the section of it that we are in. Some of this is harmless. Some of it's quite constructive, but some of it is catastrophic. When the mass mind is permeated with long-held, deep-seated biases and unexamined assumptions, when the herd feeds on lies and illusions and carries contagious anxieties and hostilities, when it, as a matter of course, accepts what clearly, objectively is unjust, but accepts it because it is the way things just are, then our conformity becomes monstrous. Most of us don't mean to go there. It's just in the nature of the species to assimilate to the group. But the gospel tells us, resist it. Do not be conformed to this age, says the Apostle Paul. Most of the English translations we have will say, do not conform to this world. But what he actually said was, don't be conformed to this age, which I think is better because really the world itself is not our problem. Our problem is the time and the place that we are in. Do not be conformed to the spirit of this age means not conforming to the corruptions and excesses and idolatries of our time in the culture that surrounds, permeates, and has been shaping us. The gospel says, don't let it. And if we ask Paul, well, how is that supposed to happen? His answer is, by the renewing of your mind. Or maybe better rendered, by the making new of your mindset. Any real and lasting positive change includes the working of the mind, the reorienting of the mindset. And what is this new state of mind? For us, whatever else it is a mindset that sees the world through the lens of the grace of God for all. Leading up to these words about taking on a new mind, Paul in this long letter has already written 11 chapters, and it's all about the lavish gift of God's grace on us all, with openness for reconciliation with all, understood by us in the self-giving love of Christ for us all. Paul speaks of how we are all flawed, all damaged, all entangled in sinfulness that we cannot struggle ourselves out of. But that the one who created us all has a mercy for us all, known to us by the self-giving love of Christ for us all. And that grace is not just for you and me. It is for our neighbors. It is for those we think of as strangers. It is for those who differ from us, even for those whom we don't much care for. For all people, a cherishing, for all a mercy, for all a prospect of redemption. The spirit of this age does not see this. The herd is filled with judging, and so with guilt bearing and guilt assigning, and is so diseased with false ego, hatred, cynicism, and indifference. But the alternate mindset, the one that sees through the lens of God's grace for all, is a mind and a life characterized by gratefulness and openness and kinship and commitments to redemption. Wouldn't that be a good making of new mind and of our character, our integrity? A life of integrity does not earn us the grace of God, but the gift of that grace does impel us to integrity, to be people who say no to what is wrong, to be people who are truthful and faithful, people who keep our promises and live in a moral commitment toward goodness and beauty and holiness. Paul calls it presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice to God, by which he means offering our whole embodied self each day as an act of worship. Wouldn't that be a new set of mind? And it would be a sense of mind alive with hope. The new mind believes that the Spirit is alive and working in the world. It believes the new mind, it believes that the world can become and will become more just, that the tyrannies will not stand, that the power of love will prevail, that redemption will win out. We are therefore resilient with hope. We resist despair, and we are boldly, persistently, defiantly, joyously active in pursuing what we know to be the desire of God for humankind, for the earth itself. I think it was Cornel West who recently said, "It is not enough that we have hope. We've got to be hope." And the making of the new mind in us, that is Christ, will bring us exactly to that. None of us can do this alone. This is all about becoming partners with one another and with those we have not yet come to know. We belong to a fellowship of transformation. How do I begin to have a new mindset? Without a community of people with the same commitments to be on that soul journey together that includes me. This is why when Paul has just finished saying, have the new mind in yourself, that is your transformation, he follows immediately by saying, and do not think of yourself more highly than you ought to think, which among other things is to say, do not for a minute think that this is just about you. You are one member in the great sisterhood, brotherhood of the non-conforming, the being transformed in the mutual learning and supporting and forming of the new mind in Christ, and the giving of full expression to it as it's needed in the world that is. What a breaking away that would be from the spirit of this age and its bizarre cult of individuality. My liberties, my good time, and no notion of membership in a society of mutual concern. It's displayed in all manner of ways around us, among us, and very often within us. But there is no transformation without relationship with others, with strangers, with each other, with God. How desperately the world needs this. Needs growing communities of people who do not conform to this age, but are being transformed by the making new of their minds. The mind that sees the world through the lens of grace, that lives in character and moral commitment and openness and holiness. Each day an act of worship, and a mind no longer orbiting around itself, but now freely given and joined to the great community of transformation. This is the revolution that the world awaits. You and I are privileged to choose to be part of it. May God's grace make it so.